Okay, so we are live. We are live here on the French Institute, Romanian French Institute page. It's a pleasure for me to be invited by the French Institute to be part of this webinar. I'm Marius Radu. I'm co-founder of Bucharest Gaming Week, an event that it's actually happening right now. It started yesterday and will finish on Sunday evening. So it's a perfect match for us to host this webinar, to co-host this webinar together with the French Institute. I'm also very excited because being in the industry, working with a lot of fields of expertise of gaming, I'm very excited to see what's going on in France. Sorry, we have three experts from the French gaming industry, and not only to discuss about France, the land of gamers. So I will introduce the special guest that we have tonight, and then I will let every one of you to introduce yourself. We have Boris Bergeron from Stockholm. Yes. Thank you, Boris, for being with us.
Hello.
We have Laurent Michaud.
Hello, everybody.
I pronounced that correctly. And
yes.
we have and we have Benjamin Roland from Bigger Inside. I hope I pronounce your names correctly, or at least close to that. I will let you, gentlemen, introduce for 2 minutes to show to our audience what exactly is your expertise, what you're doing in France, and of course, we are thrilled to learn from you tonight. So, Boris, if you can introduce yourself for
Yes, of course. Nice to meet you. Thanks for being part of your webinar. My name is Boris Bergeron. I'm the founder of an esports business company called Stacken Group, and we provide different services in Europe and abroad, focus on esports development. So the core business is to support the non-endemic brands, the sports club, and the investors to define their strategy in esports. We also organize some esports business events like conferences, keynote, business day for different cities, for example, or event organizers. And we also represent some esports gamer and esports talent also in the traditional sports. And the goal is to help them to be more professional and to find some teams or esports team to develop their career. So the company, the subsidiary is called Stacken Agency, and we also have a sister company called Stacken Innovation to support the real estate developers to create what could be the next generation of esports, video game, and entertainment venues in France and also in many countries. So we imagine, we design, and we manage the next generation of venues focused on entertainment and video games.
Cool, thank you. I think we'll basically discuss about all your field of expertise tonight, and I'm very curious to see what you will tell us. Laurent, can you introduce yourself a bit?
Yes, I was consultant during 20 years within a company called IDAT, which is Institute of Audiovisual and Telecommunication in Europe. I conducted market report, market analysis for many years in this company. I certainly wrote up more than 100 market reports following main trends within the industry of video games. So really interested in innovation, evolution of this industry. I joined last year the group Econ, which is a group of education in France, devoted to training in animation, video game, photography, and so on. Let's say the group I work for deal with creative industry jobs, and I take in charge development of this group inside France and outside France as well.
That's interesting. I think this topic will also be interesting for the Romanian audience, especially because we have this struggle in Romania. We don't have enough specialists to work in the gaming industry, and maybe you can share some of your expertise here. Benjamin?
Hello. I'm very glad to be here tonight. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bigger Inside, a French startup created in 2018. We are focused to a new kind of experience in video gaming. This is dedicated to location-based entertainment. We build a kind of new game. We fused video game and laser tag thanks to virtual reality. In our experience, players moving freely. This is a free roaming virtual reality experience. They are moving freely in a large-scale maze, like for example 200 square meters, like a laser tag maze, and they wear virtual reality headset, a PC backpack, and a full body capture suit we have developed. And they interact into the game thanks to the body movement. They can trigger a special power with the hand, for example, make a shield appear or throw a fireball. They can see through the walls. This is a competitive game in team. 4 versus 4 player, up to 4 versus 4 player, and we are on the crossroad between classical sports and esports, and we provide our solution to laser owner, like for example laser tag, bowling, cinema, and the aim is to develop a dense network with our solution in order to create a new practice around our game called Protocol 223, and with an international league.
Cool. Sounds good. I've seen videos from this game. I must admit that I would like to play it as well.
You are very close.
We'll be back to that later. So thank you everyone for introducing yourself, and thank you for being here. I think what will be interesting for the Romanian audience to see is a little bit of what's going on in France as a whole, the gaming industry. So if some of you, maybe Laurent, maybe Benjamin, can share with us a little bit of how big is the industry, how big is the revenue of the gaming industry in France, how many studios there are, or how many employees, stuff like that, so we can understand, or eventually we can compare with Romania and maybe some other countries.
Okay, let's say I can begin if you want. France is the third market in Europe with close to 5 billion euros of revenue. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 4.5% of the worldwide video game revenues. Mm-hmm. So it's quite important. Regarding the place of France within the production, worldwide production, 3% of global video game production in volume of game is carried out by France. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to make a little comparison with Romania, for example. A recent study that the Romanian Game Development Association conducted revealed that Romania is close to $200 million in revenue per year. So, of course, not even not even half a billion. Not speaking about 5 billion, but the industry is changing, is developing, and somehow probably sooner or later this amount that I mentioned will be doubled as the gaming industry is developing. Besides Ubisoft, which other bigger gaming studios do we have in France? What other titles besides the big AAA games from Ubisoft, which by the way are done in Romania as well? Some of I'm not sure if the entire Assassin's Creed Valhalla or the entire Watch Dogs Legion is done in Romania, but a big bunch of them are done here. Besides Ubisoft, who else is there in the market, and who else is doing?
So far,
great games?
Ubisoft is the biggest company within in France, of course. Beside Ubisoft, we can speak about Quantic Dream.
Okay, yeah,
but note that Quantic Dream is about 280 people working
okay.
in this company. So compared to Ubisoft, it's quite small, in fact.
Yeah.
We have as well Ankama in north of France, with close to 300 people working in this company.
Cool.
Everybody, I'm quite sure everybody knows Arcane, which has produced Dishonored, a well-known game all over the world. We have some very good developers involved, or former creator of game studios, small game studios such as Eric Chahi. Eric Chahi created many years ago a game called Another World, and Eric Chahi has created a new game companies, which is Pixel Reef.
Cool. I mean, sounds great. I'm somehow I expected to have this kind of a bigger gaming industry that in Romania. Of course, I think Ubisoft started in late 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So it makes sense for the gaming industry to from France to be to have a bigger background, to be developed, as you mentioned. And of course, you didn't mention, Laurent, the bigger Inside Studio.
Yeah,
Which
yeah, we are a little independent studio.
A promising company, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you also forget .Node, for example, but not only. But Bigger Inside is a little studio, but there is a lot of a small independent studio also, as Laurent said. For example, in Montpellier, where the influence of Ubisoft historically create a lot of little studio with people coming from Ubisoft and leave Ubisoft to create their own studio, and sometimes they on the future after that are sometimes by by Ubisoft.
Yeah,
but
yes, it's happening.
Ubisoft is a kind of a locomotive, a train, and that help the creation of a lot of little studio. Some studio come big, but not as so big as big as Ubisoft for now, but maybe on the future. maybe for a bigger insight.
I did not mention that, but in France, there are more than 20 companies with more than 100 people working. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Sounds good. I think both countries somehow are connected by Ubisoft here, because if I'm not mistaken, Ubisoft together with Gameloft, anyway, both of them came in Romania in early 90s. So they opened the first studios here, and from that we are now at around 6,000 employees, and a couple of dozens of big studios, and a lot more indie studios, which are, as Benjamin said, they are acquired by the bigger companies right now with their projects. So yeah, it's apparently we are united by Ubisoft somehow. They were the first that started this craziness, at least in our countries. Can you tell me, because we are also curious, and I will tell you why I'm asking this. Can you tell me a bit of the French gamer profile? How old is he? What is the split, the gender split? What is he playing? How many hours does he play? What kind of devices does he has? I'm telling you this because I mentioned earlier about the Romanian Game Developer Association study, which has been recently launched by them, and I would like to compare a little bit with what this study revealed, and maybe to see if there are some stuff that we can compare, or maybe similar stuff. Can someone tell me a little bit about the French gamer profile?
Yes, I think this question is for me, guys. So,
King of statistics.
71% of French people are playing game occasionally.
How many? Please, again.
71%.
Oh, that's
Okay.
nice.
Yeah, it's occasionally. Occasionally, it's once a year. Okay.
Yeah.
If we consider people who play games regularly, it's about 52% of French people.
That's
Okay.
enough. That's
Yes.
a lot.
Regarding gender, in France, 1 in 2 gamers is a woman. Okay.
That's nice. That's nice. We're close enough. If you want, I mean, we can have a comparison. For example, in Romania, 48% of the gamers are females.
Okay.
So yeah, we are close enough.
Okay, but in game studios, there is less than 50% of people who are women, who are females. So it's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough indeed.
It's not enough. Regarding player, the average age, the average age is 14. Okay.
Okay.
40. And if you
40, okay, 40, not 14. Okay, 40.
40.
Good.
If you consider only females, it's 38. And
interesting.
If you consider only men, it's 41. Okay.
Okay.
We are a country where we mainly play on PC. If you compare to United Kingdom is a home console country.
Exactly. Yep.
And I'm quite sure that Romania is a PC country as well.
Correct. Yes. We actually we have 60% of the people playing on computer or on the mobile phone. 64%. So basically, if you have a computer, mostly you have a smartphone as well, and we are playing there. So indeed, if you mentioned the gender split, and also the age, the average age, in Romania we have the average age of the gamer men is 39 years old, so it's close to what's the average in France. And the female gamer is 35 years old in average. We have around 8 million people that are playing games in Romania, which in theory is around 50% of the current Romanian population that is in Romania. So we are basically, I don't see big differences compared to France, which in the end it makes sense because this entertainment industry is all over the place right now, is more and more accessible, is easy to play on consoles and mobile. And of course, as you mentioned, and as I said, most of them are playing as a hobby at home, and most of them are playing on a computer. So yeah, it's interesting to see. I don't know if you have any other interesting stats that can be shared. I don't know if or
in fact we have many metrics to provide with you. All these metrics are coming from the French National Syndicate of Publishers. I'm not sure that this document is available in English, but everybody can download information on the website of European Federation of Game Developers, or on the website of Interactive Software Federation of Europe, which is the federation that gather all the national syndicate trade association, in fact, in Europe.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, I have two more indicators that
Please.
could be interesting for you. In France, we have close to 1,000 companies working in the video game industry, whose 500 are game studios. Okay.
Yeah, sounds nice. I mean, I think Romania, if I'm not mistaken, again, I'm not let's say a representative of the game developers, but I think there are like around 250 gaming studios in Romania, if I'm not mistaken, all over Romania, with focusing most of them in Bucharest, and I'm speaking about the indie ones as well. And it's interesting to see that, if I understood correctly, basically you have an institute, a national institute, who is gathering this kind of information. I don't remember one in Romania doing it, to be honest, and maybe it's a good example to follow, I hope, in the next years. The study that I mentioned is done by Romanian Game Developer Association, which is independent. It's formed by the biggest, all the gaming studios in Romania, and they are struggling with this kind of stats, and they are doing it on their own expenses and so on. I hope somehow by acquiring more information from your side, and maybe discussing with the local authorities in Romania to follow your example when it comes to this kind of statistics and this kind of techniques to work with the gaming industry.
Notice that in France we have two trade associations. The first one represents publishers, okay, and foreign publishers located in France, and the other one, which is independent, mainly financed by game developers, which is the trade association federating game developers and some publishers, independent publishers. And this is the SNJV, the French Syndicate for Video Game Industry. And this syndicate has many game studios that finance the association, that finance the association. So the association has means to conduct some market report and studies based on the industry.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's clear that you have a lot. I mean, not a lot, but you have a few important steps ahead of Romania. In the end, you had more time to develop all of these things, and that's the gaming industry probably developed much faster than in Romania. It's interesting, and from what I know from our game developers association, they are moving forward into this kind of directions. Also, you mentioned that there are fewer women in gaming. Actually, we are hosting in Bucharest Gaming Week a webinar exactly on this topic, and not only the ones that are working into the studios, but everywhere in content creation, in the esports, in all of these gaming industries directions. So indeed, there are a lot of similar aspects from France that are happening here in Romania. But yeah, you have some steps ahead, which I hope we will catch up from behind. Can you tell me a bit about the French market when it comes to the games that are mostly played and watched, let's say consumed? Can you tell me a few words about which are the most popular games in France, just to compare with Romania a little bit? Can someone tell me about that?
Yes, about you speak about the streaming side
which are the
on
most
Twitch
consumed,
or
so to
YouTube.
speak. And we can easily see that from Twitch or YouTube when it comes to the content. Yeah.
Yes, the two video games most played in France. I speak about the esports side, so the competitive side of a video game, are probably League of Legends from Riot Games and Fortnite from Epic Games. So they are the most common view on Twitch. But you also have Rocket League, a little bit of FIFA. So FIFA is probably the first video game sold in France in PS4, 5, or in the Microsoft Xbox. But it's not necessarily the most viewed on streaming platform on Twitch. So the MOBA game, the FPS, also Counter-Strike, is probably one of the most practiced and viewed in France. Maybe Laurent, you have maybe some figures or some ranking. I don't have exactly the ranking about what is the first and the second game. It depends if it's casual, if you play, or if you watch. It's not necessarily the same thing.
What can I say? What I can say on this part, France each year, FIFA is one of the most played game. I'm not so happy with that consideration. I'm quite surprised about that. But that's the case. We are a country where we play FIFA first. Okay, and we play FIFA in esports as well. But I have no more metrics on this. I can search for some figures about it and share some figures with you. Give me.
Yeah, the 20 most sold physical video games the last year in France was Super Mario from Nintendo. you have Grand Theft Auto, you have Red Dead Redemption 2, you have Star Wars, FIFA, of course. I see The Legend of Zelda and many others. But it depends if you speak about casual side of video game or if you speak about esports side.
Yeah, I mean, probably mostly, and actually, definitely, we need to split them when it comes to watching and watching esports. Is definitely the big esports titles that are basically also creating tournaments and that have a fan base behind, that have esports teams and so on. And probably will be back to that in a couple of minutes. But on the other hand side, I would I was curious to see which is the, let's say, the most sold game in France, because again, we also are a FIFA nation, so to speak. We are football lovers. We have a lot of football fans here. Football is probably the most important game or the most popular game that we have in Romania, and therefore there are a lot of football fans. Therefore, there are a lot of FIFA fans. And from what I know, FIFA is one of the most successful game in Romania when it comes to sales. But also we have these freemium games such as League of Legends or Dota or Fortnite, which is acquiring a lot of fan base recently, especially Fortnite, especially the Battle Royale games. And probably the trend is the same in France as well. You didn't mention anything about Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike is one of the most popular games in Romania, for example.
Yes, in France, if you look at the three most sold video games last year, it was FIFA, and the second one is Call of Duty. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and then you have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So it was the three. So you have some casual, you have an FPS about some esports side. But if you speak about esports, of course, Counter-Strike is very played in France. It's in a tier one. You have different tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 in the ranking of the practice of esports, and Counter-Strike, Fortnite, League of Legends are in the tier one. So many people are playing and many people are watching.
Yeah, that's correct, and makes sense in the end. All of three developers are doing a lot of stuff around the game to push it. Are organizing esports tournaments and are close to the community, which means a lot for the community to have the developer or the publisher being involved in the ecosystem. Speaking about esports, Boris, maybe you can share a little bit more when it comes to that. I mean, esports, it's a phenomenon right now. It's getting more and more attention from the media. It's getting more and more attention from investors. It's getting more and more attention even from the governments or universities, for example. How is the esports phenomenon in France? How many esports players or clubs? What can you share us from there?
Yes, so the esports ecosystem is quite a niche in the video game industry. So Laurent said that the market in video game is close to $5 billion in France.
Euros.
Sorry. In about esports, it's less than 50 million euros for the last year. So it's a niche, but it's growing fast thanks to the support of many sponsors, the media, of course, the COVID effect this year, of course, because many young people are watching on Twitch, are playing video game, and they want to play on some online tournament, for example. So about the metrics, you have the last figure we have coming from the France Esports Association. So It's not a federation, but it's an association coming from the government 4 years ago, with the goal to federate, to aggregate the different esports stakeholders of the industry. The last figures we have is that we have in France 1.3 million people as esports amateur. So if we speak about the grassroots ecosystem, you have something like 1.3 million people with a ranking. So they regularly have some ranking in different ladder or in different competition. They also are attending to some tournaments online or offline. But this figure is raising to 10 million people above 15 years old, if we just speak about the fact to challenge or to fight against another people through a PC, through a console, but not necessarily with a ranking or not necessarily with participating to a tournament online or offline. So the figures are growing. I will say not necessarily fast, but the trend is here. So the market has, of course, had a stop this year because something like 60 events have been postponed or cancelled due to the lockdown, to the COVID effect. But about the numbers of the viewership, we see a big jump into the mainstream side of esports, because you have many influencers playing I don't know, Warzone, Fortnite, Rocket League, FIFA, or other video games directly on YouTube or on Twitch, for example. So you have a big community coming in the streaming platform. You have more and more online championship tournament with small or big cash prize, because the publishers, of course, they want to attract new players, new viewers, new sponsors. So you have more and more tournaments with some cash prize to attract the players, of course. About you had a question about maybe the education? I don't remember.
Before going into that, you mentioned a little bit of the fact that there is a esports federation there.
Yes.
We are trying to do the same in Romania. Here we don't have an esports federation at this point. Of course, let's say gaming is like growing right now, which with the young generation playing, and with us, let's say the 80s, 70s, 80s generation, which raised with a personal computer. Now everything changed. The mentality has changed, but still we have this wall when it comes to the government and all of these special laws or the rules that should govern esports federation. We are not there yet. We are trying to do it. So maybe you can give us a little bit of some insights of what is the federation doing in France when it comes to esports.
Yes. So you have the name of the association is France Esports. This association was born after a study coming from the government to understand who are the different players, the stakeholders, the ecosystem, and to understand exactly what happens, because you have different issues about esports, about playing, about the minors, about the gaming house, about the contract between the players and an esports team, for example. So the goal was to federate, to aggregate many people coming from the community, the esports community, so you have the promoters, you have the publishers, and you have the players. So this is the three colleges of the France Esports Association. It's not a federation, because if you want to be a federation, you have to be close to a ministry in France, so the Ministry of Sport or Ministry of Economics, but it's not the case. It's not the case because esports is not considered as a sport in France. You have some interest about the contract. You have similar contract between the esports and the traditional sports for the players, for example, but it's not considered as a sport about the legal aspect. You have an esports international, the IESF, the International Esports Federation, which is a federation with more than 40 members around the world, with different federations inside. So I don't know, many federations in Europe or in different countries, and the France Esports is not inside the IESF, but the goal for the French country and specifically for the government is to understand how the France country could be an attractive country for many people, and what could be the roadmap to develop the ecosystem. So they started last year Call of Thunders to make an esports study, an economic study, to understand what could be the right direction for the 5 coming years in France, and to help to support the event organizers, to support the players, the esports team, the grassroots ecosystem, etc. So it's just the beginning, to tell the truth. We are not working in France with international ecosystem, recognized ecosystem like IOSF, for example, but the France Esports was a pioneer in Europe to create the European Federation, even if there's a little conflict because France is not inside the European Federation of Esports, and probably the main topic is about the role of the publishers, because most of the international federation or different big federation, they don't want to speak, or they don't want to include inside the strategy or the discussion. They don't want to have the publishers. And in France, France Esports considers that to organize, to structure all the ecosystem, you have to include the publishers in around the table. So so that's the main problem between the vision of the French ecosystem and most of the other countries that could have, for example, a federation, because it's very important for us to involve the publishers about many things, about harassment, about the tournament, about the loot box, about the contract, and many things inside.
Yeah, that's interesting. And now I understand why French esports is not affiliated to ISF or to other let's say associations. It's interesting also to see that basically in France, esports is not a sport like officially recognized. I would expect to be honest. I didn't know that. It's interesting, and it's somehow what we are trying to do in Romania is to basically do the same stuff. To start with an association of people, different kind of, let's say, players involved in the industry that know how the ecosystem works, and slowly but steady to start, moving the wheels of this big and important entertainment industry, or the new entertainment niche. So it's interesting to see that, and I hope that at one point we'll discuss even further on this topic, because it's interesting that you put a lot of focus on the relationship with the publishers or the developers, which it's quite interesting right now. Go ahead.
Yes, just to tell just a last thing. The point of view of France Esports Association is to boost the grassroots ecosystem, to prevent pathology for the players, for example, to educate, to aggregate, to discuss with the publishers. It's not necessary to be part of a ministry of sport, for example, of culture.
Correct.
Because if you add esports as a kind of new sports like basketball, soccer, or other things in a ministry, you necessarily will have the same rules, the same constraints, the same organization to develop in the country for esports. But the esports ecosystem doesn't want to have the same rules, the same organization necessary like football, handball, basketball, or other sport, traditional sports. That's why, of course, we see a convergence between sports and esports in many clubs in France, in the PSG, in Monaco, in many soccer clubs. Of course, you have some similar topics like performance, training, and many things very close in esports and sports. And Benjamin maybe could be able to speak about the physical side of some video game, like the bigger inside the protocol 223, and the fact that you move, and it's also doing sport when you play esports. So the same problem is about the ICO. If you want to recognize esports in the Olympic Games, it's not so easy, because you have many things to think about: the violence of the video games, about the IP, the media right, and many things. And it's not because you have a federation or a ministry of sports that necessarily you need to add esports inside.
That's correct. I mean, it's an important topic and a large topic. I mean, here are like two worlds that are colliding: a world of sports and an ecosystem of sports that has been ruled for, I don't know, hundreds of years, maybe, as a soccer, or a lot of couple of years in other games, with a completely new and emergent ecosystem such as gaming and esports, which at this point, let's say, cannot be exactly ruled, or you cannot make a rule book that can be applied to all of games, all of countries, and all of tournaments. So I think there will be a lot of work here, and there will be a lot of back and forth. And we all know the discussions about esports being part of the Olympics. I think there will be a lot of work to do, and a lot of time to make it properly. I think there is also a lot of pressure here when it comes from the media and from the brands, because esports being more and more popular with millions of people watching it, basically you want to have it in the most important events of this globe. So I don't know if we are ready for Olympic Games, but still we'll need associations and federations that can help and put at the same table all the parts involved in the gaming ecosystem. So hopefully we'll be doing this in Romania, and hopefully you in France, you'll get more and more attention and more involvement from all the stakeholders. Speaking about the involvement of the government and the local authorities, I would like to know how is the gaming or the games or the gaming industry, even the esports, why not, seen in France by the government and the local authorities? Benjamin, you're saying that you are a small studio, that you're doing a great game. how is this?
You said
how-
it's a great game.
I
You said
seen
it's
it,
a
man.
great game. I just
I've seen it. I want to play it. I don't know when the lockdown
I'm
will
just
be.
agree with you. It's,
Okay. So can you tell me
you
how?
will be welcome with pleasure if you.
Cool. We'll keep in touch. Can you tell me?
There is
Yep.
an
Go ahead. Sorry.
yes. You want to know what is the kind of help for little studio, for example, coming from
how is government basically helping
government?
the industry? I don't know, loans, maybe tax reduced for the people that are opening a studio and stuff like that. Because it's interesting to see how your industry is developing there.
Yes, in France there is a politic how to say everything with subsidies are around innovation in many cases, and it's the same thing for video games. For example, through the CNC, this is National Cinematographic Center. At the beginning, it was created to help the creation of movies, and there is now a specific fund for video game creations, and it's dedicated to innovation when your game is at the level of prototype. And they can provide subsidies or also tax credits to help studios, little or also big studios to touch this financial aid. For example, we have spoke about Ubisoft. Ubisoft received subsidies from the French government through subsidies from CNC, for example. It depends on the size of the project. Bigger is the project, more you will have subsidies, because it's a way to support the hiring of people, game developer, modeler, concept designer, extra level designer, all the people working on video game ecosystem. And there is also a government, a public organism, which was created very early. It's BPI. This is a bank for investment in France. This is a public bank, and this is dedicated also, most often dedicated to innovation, and sometimes video games can, for example, in our case, we have received subsidies from BPI for the development of our game, because there is a huge part on our project, a huge part of innovation, technological innovation, and there is help on the form of subsidies and also a refundable advance.
Okay. So that
with
sorry, go ahead.
With a 0% loan.
Okay, that's interesting. Unfortunately, the gaming development industry here in Romania is struggling with authorities to get this kind of, let's say, help, or I don't know, laws that can eventually develop even better the gaming industry. So it's interesting to see that on one hand side you are getting a help from a cultural point of view, like from the creational part of the gaming, and also you are getting help or interest from the business side, as a bank, which can see an opportunity of recovering the money faster or doing even a profit by helping small companies, or why not bigger companies, developing games. So that's very interesting. We are struggling with this in Romania, unfortunately. I hope that at one point the government and the local authorities will see the opportunity of gaming, and will see the fact that the gaming studios really need employees to work, as you mentioned, from graphic designer to level designer to project manager and all of this stuff. So it's interesting to see how it works in France, and I really hope that this will happen in Romania as well.
Just if I can add an
course.
important information, it's important to keep in mind that the European law limit this kind of subsidies at this is a 1 per 1. For example, if you are 10,000 euros of budget, the subsidies will be a maximum 10,000 euros. This is a European law. It's for France, but also for every country in Europe.
Maybe that should be changed, and the grant should be bigger. I mean, why I ask you, gentlemen, this question is because here from Romania we are looking with envy a little bit on Poland, and maybe you as well. You have seen the Polish example where the government helped a couple of years ago the industry, like with loans and investments and tax reductions and all of this stuff. And now basically they have one of the biggest gaming studios in the world. And I was wondering why we are not doing this in Romania, why other countries are not taking this opportunity as well. But from what I've seen, it's already happening in France, and I hope will happen in Romania as well. Go ahead.
I think it's important that politicians understand that video game is a real industry, and I think not all people on different government as understand that it's a reality. Video games today is an industry bigger than movies, and could make a lot of money. And I think if they understand that, they will be more open to make effort to create employment.
That's correct.
It's a way to, if I could add just 2 words. If you look, for example, in South Korea, in China, in Denmark, in North America, in different states in the US, you have some support from the government or some specific ministries to help the implementation of startups, to create some incubators or to develop technological aspect. If you look, for example, in Poland, you have a famous place called Katowice. Probably the biggest one in the world for esports. It's a very important location for the esports ecosystem. And Katowice was 10 years ago just a city, an industrial city, with many manufactories, and that's it. And the authorities, the local authorities, decided to invest and to create a kind of arena, convention stadium, a big place to attract publishers, startups, event organizers, and many things. So they injected millions of euros to create a specific place to attract people coming from around the world during some specific for 1 week or something like that. You have the same in Germany, in Berlin, in Cologne, and different places for the Gamescom. If you want to develop the business of the video game, you need the support of the local authorities or the government to boost the credibility, the visibility to attract new sponsors, to attract new schools, new startups, new indie games studio, etc., etc. So it's not in France, for example, it's not exactly the case for the moment. You have some support, as Benjamin said, with the CNC or the BPI, etc. But video game is not so. It's not.
It's not a priority.
Yes, it's not a priority, and it's sometimes it's bad. You see, in esports, just to focus on esports, if you speak with the politician, if you speak with the people in the government, for them, but not 100%, but most of the politicians, we say, okay, you are playing esports. Is it a real job? Oh my goodness, you are just with a gamepad. You are all the day with your console. You are eating pizza and drinking Coca-Cola, and that's it. So we have to change the mind, and maybe we can move forward and develop the countries or the different cities.
Yeah, with this kind of associations, as you mentioned earlier, I think that's gaming development associations. These are the steps that need to be in order to move stuff on the government side, in my opinion. And speaking about that, there is any kind of educational system, or there is any kind of program that runs in France, in French high schools or French universities, that somehow are related to gaming or esports development. We have, for example, this problem in Romania, as I mentioned before. Our gaming studios will want to hire people that can, I don't know, do game design or whatever, but basically we don't have the specialists right now. How is France dealing with that? How are the local authorities doing it there? Maybe Laurent.
I think Laurent is a good guy for this question.
Expert.
Education is great in France. And I don't speak about my group, the company where I work, but globally, education is great in France, from the private part to the public part. Specifically, if we have a look at education in game, let's say, in fact, let's say that video game industry is a young industry. Education in video game is young as well, but very dynamic. In France, I count more than 150 schools or university courses in video game. So
nice.
It's so much, in fact, in our country, certainly more than in Italy or Spain. The structure of education in France is quite different than in England, for instance. So it's quite difficult to compare, and specifically, it will be hard to compare with Romania as well. But in France, education is a shelter, and parents want a future for the children. So do not hesitate to buy education in private schools, either in public schools. Your question is there some specific structure or policy in education? Certainly, yes. But in video game industry, the education is led by a private group, okay, that they can do what they want in education. If they want to create a bachelor not recognized by the government, that's possible. If they want to create a bachelor or a master recognized by the government, by the Ministry of Education, they do it. Okay, it's an administrative work to create that kind of cursus, but it's possible. And the government has a strong demand about it. Okay, it's easy to create a school. It's hard to be recognized by the government or the Ministry of Education.
Okay, but from what I've seen, some investors and some smart people see the opportunity. I mean, there is a big gaming industry that needs a lot of employees, and they don't have how to get them because they are not trained to be part of the gaming industry. Therefore, let's do schools. I mean, it's
the question. Right? The questions to tackle is how to educate and to train young entrepreneurs to be a manager, to be an industrial, to be a visionary. In France, we are used to say that we are really good in programming, art, maybe design, but we are not so good in management, in business issues. Okay.
Yeah, that's why we're hiring German people.
We have to be better in this part of the game industry.
Yeah. Okay, that's very interesting. Boris, maybe you can tell us a bit about how it's going on in esports. It's a niche,
yes, for sure.
Yes, but still, I think there is a lot of businesses there that are active and that somehow needs consultancy at least, or need professional to be hired from somewhere, need people to be injected in this industry that are professionals in the end.
Yes, about the esports educational system, it's only private system. Okay, so you have something like 40 different programs in France, coming from bachelor, masters, MBA, also before the baccalaureate. So you have different programs. You have the courses to practice and to be a pro gamers sometimes. So you pay to try and to expect to be a pro gamer one day. So you have some schools to help you be more professional as a player. And most of the schools offer some program with traditional courses with management, with marketing, with communication, etc., and with some specialities in esports business, how to organize an esports event, how works esports sponsorship, and many things. But you only have a few schools with recognized diploma coming from the government, and most of the time it's because they already have the same courses, but they just change the brand, or they add some specific modules. So the goal for me as a teacher, because I teach in different business high school, also in the university in Monaco, or in different digital schools about esports business and esports economy, is to sometimes to try to move to the universities, because you have the public scene without any courses in esports. So I think you don't necessarily need to pay 8,000 or 10,000 a year to have a diploma with esports and gaming in your diploma. So to try to develop some courses in the university, and probably to add more and more knowledge, skills coming from the video game side, because in esports, you have many jobs. You can be a streamer, a caster. You can be an administrator about the LAN parties. You can organize some events. You can be responsible of the partnership and talent management and many things. So many schools, and the big issue is about the employability. Because esports, as we said, is a niche in France. It's not the same case as the video game industry. The competitive side of video game is not the best ecosystem to find a job. So you could have probably in France, I think probably more than 1,000 people actually in different schools, esports school, but probably you will have just 5% or 10% working in the esports industry.
Yeah,
Most of them will work in the video game industry or work in the sport industry, the event industry, the culture industry, the marketing side. I don't know, but that's the problem. You have more and more schools in esports, but the employability is not so easy.
Yeah, I mean, this will be an issue, a bigger issue in a couple of years when I'm pretty sure the esports will be developing even more than that. And I assume that this will come with the popularity of esports and gaming in general. This niche that is right now ignored about a lot of classic media, or at least not taken in serious, will probably change the mentality in the next years, and then this issue that we have right now with the employees or the specialists will be even bigger. By the way, I don't know how is the gaming or the gamers or the esports players perceived in France by the classic media. It's can we see esports on TV in France? Can we see esports advertised in France? Can we see these big media companies covering esports, or how is that in France right now?
About esports, you have some dedicated channels on the TV, like ES1, for example. But you have to pay. It's on the cable. You have to pay to access to the TV. So it's a 24 hours a day TV focus on esports. So you have some interviews, some championships, and many things, some analysis, etc. You have some small session on different channels like Canal Plus, Bein Sport, and other TV channel. Sometimes you have a tournament, and the TV want to buy the rights to broadcast the tournament in France, or a big tournament. But you have more video game, maybe a channel, than esports TV channel. But most of the time, the esports is consumed directly on the streaming platform. So the millennials, the people between 15 and 35, for example, used to watch YouTube on their smartphone, used to watch some championships, some influencers on Twitch, for example, but not necessary to switch on the TV, because they don't consume the TV. But you have sometimes, like you have ESPN in esports, and different TV like OGN in South Korea, for example. But in France, you have a few TV channel focused on esports, or just adding some specific for 2 hours in prime time, for example, or at the end of the evening, a tournament.
Yeah, that's let's say a problem, I guess, everywhere, except with the countries that you mentioned, like South Korea, which they started early in the 90s with the first esports tournaments, and now they have probably an entire industry only in the broadcasting those games. we are struggling with the same issue here. I mean, we had the luck with the lockdown, so to speak, when all the sports tournament or the real sports, the classic sports events were shut down, and obviously all of these sports TV stations that didn't have what to play for their sponsors and investors and viewers, they suddenly realized that there is esports on the market. And obviously they came to us and say, let's do esports tournaments, let's do FIFA tournaments, because FIFA, football, I don't see football on TV, let's show them some FIFA. But obviously after that, nothing else happened. It's normal in the end. It's good that we had our moment of shine during the lockdown for a couple of months. But on the other hand, it's just probably a lost cause for us in the business right now to put our efforts on going with the esports on TV. I think esports right now is good where it is. And probably only if, at least in my opinion in Romania, only if the TV stations will really want to be part of this, like with long-term partnerships, long-term strategies, maybe in this way we can move a little bit the things to classic media. But yeah, it's a topic to discuss probably in a couple of years. We are already 70 minutes or 20 minutes more than I've expected. I'll have two more questions. First of all, it's somehow inspired about someone on Facebook. How is the esports and event organizers related to gaming obviously dealing right now with the lockdown? I know you had a big convention there, like Paris Games Week. I like follow them. I know that they are like they didn't do anything this year. How are they dealing with that? I know that Paris Games Week is quite big. There are a lot of people working behind it. Are they held by the authorities? Did they try to change a little bit, as we did here in Romania with Bucharest Game Week, to move online? How are the esports organizers doing with all those venues that we have there?
Yes, about the Paris Games Week, I think yes, it's cancelled, but you have something online, I think. But of course, it's not the same show, because you have during 4 days you have something like 300,000 people in Paris coming to the Paris Games Week. So of course, it's not it's not the same atmosphere, and maybe you will have some tournament online. About the esports event, all the big events in France have been postponed or cancelled. If we take the example of the Occitanie esports, so it's a big tournament in one of the biggest arena in the south of France. It was scheduled in June to create a physical LAN party, convention, and big tournaments. So after they postponed to end of September, and at the end of September in France, it wasn't possible to attend to physical events. So they decided to move online, and they organize some tournaments directly. So it in partnership with the ESL, the Electronic Sports League. You have the same thing in on another city called Poitiers, with the Gamers Assembly, probably the biggest event for the grassroots ecosystem. So they all moved to online, or they postponed. So of course it's a lack of business. You need to be very flexible and to change all the organization. But it's probably what is a force for the esports ecosystem, is to organize offline. But if you can organize offline, you can organize also online. It's not the same thing in traditional sports. If you cancel a soccer match or basketball match in your city, you can play at home with your mates, in the real world. So the video game has the opportunity to move, but of course the problem is coming from the ticketing and the sponsorship side. So the revenue, of course, are not the same for the Paris Games Week offline and some specific tournament of online. It's the same for the Occitanie esports and all the big tournaments in esports, because they have the support of some towns, they have the support of some sponsors, but many sponsors stopped their participation in the event, and of course the ticketing is not there because it's free. If you watch online on Twitch, the esports, the Occitanie esports, for example, or the championship in Paris Games Week, it will be free. But if you want to go to the Paris Games Week, you have to pay to enter and to visit, to attend to the different areas here in Paris. So it's you can move, but of course about the revenues, it's just crazy.
Yeah,
if you want to organize.
Yeah, it's obviously the revenues drop down a lot. Of course, and when you're speaking about the event organizers, obviously, because as a trend, the gaming industry overall has been growing this year because people were staying at home, consuming more and more games, more and more gadgets. But that's a particular stuff that maybe the esports organizers are not affected by that. I mean, still they were like developing a lot and investing a lot in equipment, in events, in production, which unfortunately right now is not happening. But still, just to finish in the positive note, maybe you can share with us for a couple of minutes each, what are the opportunities that you see in the industry, especially in these COVID times, when, as I said, the gaming industry is developing. Maybe Benjamin, since you are developing also some hardware and also a nice game, maybe at one point we will be able to play from home, right? During the COVID times. I don't know, a shooter as in an offline?
With our game, it's impossible to play at home. This is the specific to our game, because we at the beginning we want to create an experience that you cannot play at home, and you need to go to location to play. And unfortunately, COVID was there, but we are confident on the future, because that will not last forever, and we know that people need a social link. It's really important, and for that we seen this huge event on esport, like on the different big arena. It's not necessary, but people like that. You don't need that really, but people want to socialize and want to meet on the same place to share around their passion. And for us, it's an opportunity to develop, as I said, a network of location to play and to share, because you can come, play the game, and after that you can take a drink and sing the replay of your game. And this is a social moment share with your friends. And we see with this pandemic, with the COVID, we have seen that when lockdown is off, the first things people do is to meet. They cannot wait. The first thing they do, they meet the people, meet family, meet friends, because it's so hard to stay away 1 month or 2 months. And we think, I'm confident that there is a lot of opportunity in location-based experience, as our experience, or also for the development of event on esports, event or location to play, to practice regularly at the same location, and not away.
It's also
people staying at home.
It's even better to play together, practice together, because you can coordinate better, especially when we are speaking about esports and, I don't know, big tournaments with big prizes and big pressure. I hope to see your game soon on a big stage, Benjamin. I will follow your development. I hope to see it on a big stage at one point, maybe for esports tournament. Who knows?
Yeah, we were at the Occitanie Sports last year and the year before. And if you come in south of France, you can try in Montpellier because there is a first room called the name of the room is the Cluster.
The Cluster, yeah.
We choose the name before COVID, and you will be very welcome.
Cool.
With pleasure.
Looking forward to that. Laurent, maybe you can tell us a bit about what kind of opportunities you will see in the next years, maybe.
To me, there are many stakes for the industry, and let's say that each 6 months a new challenge appears. So it's fascinating. Let's say first, mobile is a real stake for the industry, and especially in France. I don't know in Romania, but in France we have missed that turn. That's not the case in Germany, where many companies are working on mobile content. So I think that government and Ministry of Culture should focus on mobile aid funds. Of course, let's speak about immersive tech and especially VR and AR. Bigger Inside is one of famous French company working on VR content. It's really good. I recommend that game, that experience. I tried the game and it was really cool. Another stake is the convergence between real-time technologies and pre-calculated technologies. It's especially a stake between video game industry and animation industry. And let's say we speak about virtual production in cinema, and it's a strong trend to that we'll see many sectors involved in creative industry to converge to the same point, to the same tool that allow to imagine and produce content. So real time is a big issue for many industry. And to finish, we can speak about cloud gaming. It's a new technology stake in country where optical fiber is spread. And at last, I see many wonderful things in holographic technology. Maybe the age after VR will be the holographic era, and
Nice.
I can't wait. I can't wait that kind of content.
Cool. Thank you.
Welcome.
Boris, I'll let you wrap it up before saying goodbye. You are in charge, or let's say involved in many businesses around gaming industry, and especially on esports. What opportunities do you see in the next couple of years? How do you see this entire madness will develop?
Yes, I will say that I think esports will be more and more coming mainstream, and you have many convergence with the traditional sports, with the music, with the lifestyle side. So I think esports will be in the coming years probably as mainstream as you can watch I don't know, a movie or practice sports, or maybe you can imagine that esports is a kind of new culture for the Gen Z generation, or the Gen Z people. My opinion is very similar as Benjamin said about the location. Even if everybody is in the lockdown with the COVID problem, etc. Okay, but I'm sure that in the coming years, every cities will need to attract again and again new startups, new investors, new schools, new people about tourism, and to have their own place to aggregate different kind of entertainment, like VR center, like escape game, like the bigger inside concept, for example, like esports school, like co-working, co-living, performance center, etc. So my opinion and my daily job is to educate the cities and the countries to create specific venues to gather different businesses and to create a sustainable concept to the Gen Z generation, but also for the family, for the business side, and with the video game and esports, of course, as the main topic of the venue. Because I believe that the entertainment, of course, you can watch online, you can practice online, you can play on your TV, etc. But you can create some business, some synergy between the big company and the startups about cloud gaming, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and many things. And building a specific location, a specific venue, it could be with a traditional sports in a stadium, for example, but just a standalone venue. I think it will make sense, and we see in the MENA region, in North America, in China, in South Korea, more and more towns with a specific place to practice, to organize events, show match, to attract some new schools, people, etc. So I think in the coming years, having a venue in Bucharest, a big venue in Bucharest, where you will have some studios, a research development of Ubisoft, with a school, an esports school, with a small esports arena, with restaurant, co-working, will be a standard, a kind of standard in all the big countries in Europe and in the world.
Cool. That's interesting to see that you see a future in the offline part, or the offline aspect of gaming industry, and that's, in the end, it makes sense. The gamers are social. Gamers wants to meet each other, wants to play against each other offline, next to each other, and obviously all of these other aspects of the business, such as I don't know, video studio or gaming studio or esports school, can be part of this entertainment hub, as I would call it, as a conclusion. Cool. It was a pleasure to discuss with you, gentlemen, and I hope at one point we can repeat this, or at least we can keep in contact and share ideas, share our development. And I hope that the people that watched us had a great time and got some interesting information, especially from your side. And after 1.5 hours of discussion, I can say that France is the land of the gamers, and the land of the business people working in the gaming industry. Cool. I see a lot of opportunities there. I see a lot of opportunities in Romania, and I hope to, at one point, to meet in person and to discuss a little bit more, and eventually to work together.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you to the French Institute, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
Bye.